Hello. So I am filming this video diary to chronicle my Acthar jail experience. So this is day 0. I get my first injection tomorrow. And I'm a little nervous. Because I know that it's kind of experimental. I know the FDA really only approved it in 2010. I have MS, and lately I have just really been feeling pretty bad. I was first diagnosed in 2015 at the age of 43. I am 51. And so I started to notice around the age of 49 that it was time for me to start doing something different in the way of medication. So let me just give you a little bit about my story, because I think I jumped right in with my video diary. The reason why I'm doing this is because I know when I was doing my research about this drug, I went to YouTube and I said, I gotta find somebody who has taken it to see how it made them feel. And I only really found 2 people who were talking about their experience with the drug. So I thought, let me jump in and kind of add myself to the current landscape, because number one, the 2 people that I did see were not African American, and I know that many Black folks just really don't talk about their experience with the disease as a whole, which is why I am the co-founder of the Black MS Narrative Project. I'm so happy that some merch came in today. This is our logo. See that pretty peacock there? The Black MS Narrative Project, empowering Black voices, igniting healing journeys. So, never mind my nails, because I need to get them done. But I really felt like it was important to talk about my journey with this disease a little bit, because some of that's coming later in our podcast. But I got diagnosed in 2015, but I didn't medicate for 7 years. The number one reason I didn't medicate was because I really wasn't having a lot of symptomatic issues. It took 2 years to get a true diagnosis of MS. And honestly, my only symptoms that kind of led me to a neurologist, the only way to describe MS, I think most people would agree, is weird. Well, what are your symptoms? Why do you think something's wrong? 'Cause I feel weird. And for me, that weirdness was, I had gotten vertigo weirdly out of the blue. Never had gotten it before. Maybe 2 years prior. So in like maybe 2013. And when you get vertigo, you get sea legs. And it feels like those baby legs wobbling out from up underneath you. And so 2 years later, the vertigo had passed, but I had this intermittent bout with sea legs where I was like, oh, wait a minute, am I getting vertigo again? Because all I'm feeling are my legs wobbling. And then I would feel this like slight flutter that felt like butterflies on the inside of my legs. And one leg, actually, the right leg, it would just go like that. And I was like, That's weird. So I told my doctor about it, and her response was, okay, let's just keep an eye on that. So 1 year passed. Finally, in that second year, I was just like, look, these little butterfly flutters are becoming more increasing uh, with me, and it's just intermittent and weird. I wasn't feeling anything else. Okay, one other symptom I was feeling is like late at night when I would get really tired. And to know me and to know my life, which I can get into later, very, very busy, and it wasn't unusual for me to have about 3 to 4 gigs going at the same time, which would leave me pretty tired at the end of the night. But I had energy out of nowhere. Honestly, my norm was like on 100. That's what kept me like moving through life as a makeup artist and actress, a full-time communications person, a radio and TV personality. So I had a lot of gigs, a lot of jobs. So it would leave me kind of tired at the end of the night, where I would just get this slight tremor in my head like this. And I would kind of go and shake it off and it would stop. Those were literally my only 2 symptoms, but they were concerning enough that I told my doctor about it. So after year 1, and she said, let's keep an eye on that flutter thing. Year 2, she said, I'm going to order an MRI. So the first MRI was of my brain. Yeah, it was of my brain. And the report came back that I had abnormal white brain matter. Okay. And then she says, but that's not enough to call it anything. We're going to order another MRI. And this one will be of your neck. Because did y'all know? So, folks, I just wish that the MRI people would just do a whole MRI of your whole body. But you got to get one order for the neck, one order for the head, one order for the thoracic spine, the lumbar spine. And I'll get into that a whole lot later on our podcast. But it's like when the neck MRI came back, the report came back that I had lesions and I guess y'all, when they're determining MS, they look at the number of lesions that you have on your neck and brain. And the number of lesions that I had on my neck, and I still don't know that number, I should ask. Whatever the number was, it was indicative of MS. So I go and see a neurologist, and I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm gonna go and see a neurologist, and I say, well, my husband at the time, my then husband, we were trying to have a baby, so I didn't medicate. I didn't want to medicate because I didn't like the side effects that I read from the biologics. So we were doing fertility treatments. Fast forward, none of that panned out, and we got divorced. So when I turned 49, my neurologist said, this is not the time to play Russian roulette. That time has passed for all of the IUI and the fertility treatments, and at this point, you're 49. Let's get you on a biologic, because the longer you go unmedicated, it's not going to be good. So I said, all right. So I am currently taking Tysabri, but I've recently had a lapse in my Tysabri. I'm about 2 months behind. So I have another infusion coming up in a few days. So I have scheduled my new one, but I'm 8 weeks out, which is not the norm. I normally stick to a 4-week schedule. And because I am late on the Tysabri, I have had more symptoms than I've ever had when I was keeping up with my Tysabri schedule. So I'll just talk about my symptoms for a little bit, which led me to talking to my doctor about Acthar and how tomorrow is day 1. So, God, let's see. I had never, and again, I know my MS story, everyone's MS story is different. In the last few weeks, I'd say probably the last 3 weeks, I have been more symptomatic with my MS than ever in my life. Even at the height of all of my MS symptoms, really, to be honest, the one thing that I would say was the most debilitating was headaches. And those headaches became more severe during COVID, like in 2020, to the point where I thought I was having I really questioned if I was having like little mini strokes or something, because my head was killing me. And so my doctor said, all right, we're going to get you on a round of solumedrol. And those who have MS, who have ever had to take solumedrol, some folks can tolerate it, some folks cannot. I am in the cannot category. Solumedrol is a liquid form steroid. And it is intravenously administered. And you have to go in 3 days to get it done, 3 days in a row. When I tell y'all, I felt horrible after the solumedrol. I can't even describe the symptoms. I felt even more headachy. I felt just overall just nauseous. It was bad. I said, I don't ever want to take that again. And I know for some folks who take solumedrol, it gives them like a boost of energy, all of this. That was not my experience. So I made up in my mind I would never, ever do that again. And so in the last few weeks, I have had spasticity in my right thigh so bad that like I can't even lift. Like I would lay in the bed, so like these are my legs, right? So this is my right leg and this is my, oh, I want to use the middle finger. Okay, so these are my legs side by side. And so right leg can do this easily and left couldn't even do this. Like that's the highest it could go. So I was just like, okay, so this is what spasticity is. Again, y'all, I was diagnosed in 2015 and had never had a bout of spasticity. And I know that that's not everybody's MS story. A lot of folks present with spasticity. But that was the first thing that I noticed. In the last few weeks, I've also awakened with my hands like really being numb every morning. Like I wake up with my with my hands numb. Like I have to really shake it out just to get the blood moving. It feels like the worst kind of like, you know how your hand fall asleep? It's like on 10 with that. So I gotta shake that out. I've also noticed cramping in my fingers. Really bad cramping in my fingers. Cramping in my inner thighs, like Charlie horses on my inner thighs. Oh, you can't stretch out an inner thigh. And so, okay, so I'll talk about my everyday medicine regimen. So I wake up first thing in the morning and I pop about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 12 pills first thing in the morning to get me going. And in that, of course, is about 200 milligrams of Lyrica 3 times a day. And just to keep things from tingling. So in addition to the cramping in my hands, cramping in my inner thighs, the spasticity in my right thigh, my right foot has swollen. So I can feel it. Like I wear support hose anyway every day because the line of work that I have, I run a spa. And I'm a service provider in my spa, and so because I do a lot on my feet, I have to wear support hose. And I feel like the support hose digging kind of into my right foot more because it is swollen. And then I awaken with just, how could I forget this? And then like for a year, y'all, a whole year, I have had this tingling, non-stop tingling in my thoracic area, kind of around T11, T12, though the tingling is not spinal. And I know that because in my brain, I could not accept that the tingling in my thoracic area was MS related. In my brain, it had to be getting caused by something pressing on it. Surely there's a bulging disc somewhere that's pressing on this muscle here. No, after about 6 doctors and one renowned neurosurgeon here in town who looked at my MRI and was like, your spine is fine. This is muscular. This is a muscular imbalance due to your MS. And his only advice to me was continuing your medicine regimen, which sucks because I don't want to take medicine for the rest of my life, but I know that with this disease, I'm going to have to. I've just gone through a period of like some radical acceptance lately that I didn't want to have, and I've had some hard conversations with myself, which of course is leading me to this Acthar. But I just wanted to give you all my symptoms. So the back tingling daily, constantly, every day, all day, every day. And if I didn't take the amount of Lyrica that I took, I wouldn't be able to function throughout the day. So the back tingling, the right leg spasticity, the swelling in my foot and ankles, the tightness in my fingers, the cramps in my hands, the numbness in my hands every morning. And overall, it feels like every joint and in my body stiffens up when I'm asleep, to where when I wake up, it is just really a struggle to just get going. There are some mornings where it takes me a good hour to just get myself together to be able to service my clients. So I get up early to make sure that I'm ready to start my day. So what led me to Acthar is that I was having all these symptoms that I had never had before. And it's slowing me down. I went to Beauty Pros Mixer yesterday of beauty professionals. And when I got there, to facilitate mingling, there were no chairs. And me being able to stand for that period of time was very difficult. And I panicked on the inside a little bit because I felt myself getting weak the longer that I stood. And I had to prop myself up against the wall because I don't use an assisted walking device yet, but I did order one, and it came in the mail today from Amazon. A really pretty purple shiny cane, and that was hard to buy because you just don't want to accept certain things, but you just have no choice. My balance is definitely more wobbly and more unsteady than ever before as well. So that's another symptom. And so a client who's also a nurse, where my radiologist is located, said you should ask in your patient portal about Acthar gel. I'd never heard of it before. And like I said in the beginning of this video, I think it's pretty experimental. And because I can't tolerate Solumedrol, she thought that this would be a really good alternative. And when I ran it by one of the doctors in the portal, the doc agreed. So I wanted to give y'all this. I know I went on about 20 minutes. I was gonna just do it in 5 minutes, but I just kept talking. I felt like I needed to get some things out. But today is day 0. And these are the things that I've been feeling. And so we're gonna see if the next 5 days, because you have to take it for 5 days uninterrupted in a row every day, which means I go into the office tomorrow for them to give me my first shot, and then they send it home with me to give myself the shots. Oh, that's scary. I don't want to do that, but I have no choice. The other thing is day 5 actually, let's see, today is a Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, March 20th. So day 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I'm sorry, 1. Tomorrow's the 21st. That's when I start. Oh, first day of spring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5th day actually coincides with the same day that I get my Tysabri infusion. So I'll be getting the Acthar gel and the Tysabri infusion on the same day, which of course the doc said is okay, but all of that medication sometimes scares me, and I've had some moments where I've taken a whole lot of meds and I've had some situations happen as a result that kind of scared me. I remember one time I accidentally took, I don't know what I was thinking, but and I'm sure others out there with MS can relate. I accidentally took a Flexeril and a Tizanidine, which those of y'all who are on MS meds know that Tizanidine stops spasticity, but Flexeril is a stronger muscle relaxer. And I had taken the Tizanidine because I'm supposed to take it 3 times a day. And forgot and took a Flexeril because I was hurting, and I was like, oh my God, Lord Jesus, please let me wake up tomorrow. So, you know, you got to be careful with that. So when I think about too many drugs at the same time. I don't know why, because with MS, you take a handful every morning, midday, and evening. So, but thanks for listening, and I hope that this helps. I'll be checking it every day of this cycle with a new addition to the diary. And of course, more information about the Black MS Narrative Project. So stay tuned.